Hi, my name is Erin De Silva. I'm an instructional designer here at Dartmouth College. With me today is Devin Balkcom, Associate Professor of Computer Science, and we're here today to discuss the Gateway Initiative, Dartmouth's course redesign initiative for large introductory courses. And specifically, we're going to be talking about your course, Devin, Computer Science 1. And when the Gateway Initiative opportunity came up, the number of professors in computer science who teach this course decided to jump on board. Can you talk a little bit about your motivation for doing that for this course?
Sure. I mean, as the first thing, we want the course to really be the best in the world. And so any opportunity to do that and think about that is something exciting to us. And what do we mean by the best, right? I mean, we think we're already pretty good at the technical side of things, at teaching computer science. Here is how to write a loop, here is how to assign a variable value. But what we really want to think about is how to make students really excited about computer science on their own. At Dartmouth and across the country, there's been a tremendous enthusiasm for computer science, which is a wonderful problem to have. But when I got here a decade ago and was teaching introductory computer science, we had maybe 10% of Dartmouth students taking that course. Now we've got more than half of Dartmouth students taking that course. And that means we have both bigger individual courses that we have to teach effectively, but also we have a broader array of backgrounds and interests, different reasons that people are taking the course. In the past, maybe that 10% already had some exposure. They knew that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to major, and that was a particular type of course. And we had the choice as to whether to divide that into majors courses and non-majors courses, and we decided not to do that. We think that anybody can do this if they're excited and have the right instruction initially. So what we wanted to do was think about how to teach this enthusiasm, and that's something that goes beyond the particular course, and the Gateway Initiative gave us the opportunity to bring in instructional designers and to have a conversation about what are the good ways to do these things that are across disciplines.
But a lot of students have loved this course for a long time. It's been a successful course. And yet you still say we need to take a look at it and make sure that we are constantly updating and working on it. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, the Olympics are going on right now, and it's a reminder that there's a big gap between a pretty good course and the best in the world, where we want to be. And what the best is changes. One of the things that's changed is the environment for learning. Things like massive online courses, Code Academy, Hour of Code, have raised sort of excitement about computer science. Khan Academy, which I participated in writing some interactive lessons for. These are all very new tools, and I don't know that they've always been 100% successful. Many people drop out of online courses. But there's a lot of thinking going into that and a lot to learn from it. And it's a good reminder to us, hey, we should be looking at these interactive tools. Yes, we think that we like teaching in this environment that we're in, and we've got some experience and things are going well, but we need to take these new tools and integrate those into our approach.
Yeah, especially when we can take advantage of such data of what works and what doesn't.
Right.
But yeah,
right,
that helps a lot.
And that's particularly relevant for computer science, whereas if I were teaching a 20-person artificial intelligence or robotics course, which is my research specialty, I actually do know what the students know because they told me.
Yeah. It's different with 20.
But now we really have to think about how to really build, not just teach a course, but build a full sort of system around teaching.
So can you talk a little bit about the resources that Gateway has provided, and specifically how those resources have enabled you to make the changes that you were hoping to make?
Right, so there's resources of different types. Some resources are financial, and we made use of some of those. I'll talk about that in a second. And some resources are just providing an environment where you can have these discussions and some time to sort of think about how you do this design and what are good things across disciplines. So financially, the things that we asked for, we've always had a section leader program. When I first started teaching the course, I had 4 to 5 section leaders for 60 students teaching, so individual sections of 15 students. And now we've got 150 or 180 students in the class, and we've bumped up the number of section leaders. So we're able to increase the number of section leaders, and that made the individual sections smaller, which I think was really important. Particularly the more people we have in the course, the smaller the sections need to be.
Right.
And so these resources sort of get bigger twice.
Yeah.
And so we needed that help to do that. The other thing that was provided was some help from instructional designers. And what that got us was somebody who thought about more than just teaching computer science. And I found that to be very helpful. To say, well, what other people do? What's happening in other courses on campus? What's happened in the education literature?
You're really lucky that computer science has a vast body of education literature,
right,
so that
right.
helps.
And there's some data associated with that because you can tell if the program is working
Right.
in some cases.
Right.
And that I found very useful because we don't always have time as professors who have a research program and are teaching other courses to sort of sit down and say, well, what's happening in the biology department? How do they make use of peer-to-peer interactions? When we're actually breaking down in class and doing an exercise, does it make sense to have them do it individually all the time? Should they discuss it with their peers? How much time can we afford? What are we going to lose by giving up those few minutes of lecture? Is that loss worthwhile? And so having that discussion lets us figure out, are we willing to take this jump? It's
Right.
natural to be very conservative and say, well, the course is pretty good, the lecture's pretty good, but having that environment lets us talk to other people and do those things. We also were able to get some time to build some of these exercises and hire a student to work on this. And that is useful to be able to do that going forward, is to have students design exercises and give feedback. Of course, as professors, we think we're good at that, but the more the better. And if we can have sort of a big library of sort of problems and tools that are fun, sometimes the students are better at knowing what's fun than we are.
What's engaging and
Right.
how to get them there. That seems like a nice, and not an opportunity you get a lot, right? To
Right.
talk with the students about what's going to most engage
Right.
in the class. So that's
Right.
also very important.
Yeah. And there's a couple of different sources of feedback that we get. Obviously, students anecdotally give some feedback, and every year they rate the course and they give us information on a survey, and very consistently students said the exercises were really important. Triple the number of exercises. It wasn't enough. Do more of that. They say the sections were incredibly helpful. Do more of that. A lot of these things are somewhat anecdotal. Of course, for exams, I feel like the exams were as hard or harder than in the past, and students, I can see that they did better, but whether they were truly harder or not is hard to measure. We're just starting to collect data on how students are doing on exercises in class. Hopefully, over the future, that will give us some idea of trends and some feedback there.
Maybe long term, sure, but even short term, I have a lot of faculty I work with who say, I know how 150 people are understanding what I say because when I look out at them, they're giving me that nod, right? How does that apply to you?
Well, I don't know how they're feeling about it. I mean, I feel sometimes that they're understanding things, and sometimes I feel that they are not.
Right.
But I'm frequently surprised, and I've always sort of just relied on my intuition for that, and that's not how we would behave as scientists, right? And so it is really nice to have every 15 minutes to say, okay, 75% of the students sort of answered this question or solved this little puzzle or problem in the time they had. It's pretty good. We can keep the pace up. Not everybody's going to get it, and we can go back and see how to help other people. But that's a pretty good number. If 25% got it, well, of course 25% did, but we may have to go back and sort of relay those bricks.
Right. Yeah.
and
Start
kind of
from the
work through it.
foundation.
So that has already been really helpful to me. directly. Of course, the thing we're really trying to measure is hard to measure in the short term. We would like the students to get really excited about this material, go off and learn 100 times what we've ever taught them, and build new knowledge and do exciting things with that, and be excited about that as a part of their lives. Only time's going to tell with that.
So Gateway is sort of giving you that opportunity to take what you had, but to also explore what can be done, what's possible,
Right.
and to continue to make those improvements over time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good luck.
Thank you.